Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, the first ever fight to be streamed on Netflix, making history in a multitude of ways. This fight shattered viewership records, pulling in millions of eyes worldwide. However, beyond the numbers, it was a moment that made us all pause and ask, what is going on here? At the heart of it all, Iron Mike Tyson, a living legend in the boxing world known for his raw aggression, knockout power, and a career that made him the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Tyson was back, and though he was an older version of the savage force we once saw dominate the ring, his presence still commands attention. But this fight wasn't just about Tyson's return. No, it was something much more peculiar. As the rounds went on, Tyson's behavior became the focal point for fans and analysts alike. His actions raised more questions than answers, and one moment in particular stood out above the rest: Mike Tyson biting his gloves. Now, we're not talking about a casual mistake. This wasn't some random action. Tyson, known for his sharp focus, aggression, and discipline, bit his gloves. So, why did Iron Mike suddenly switch gears mid-fight and do something so unexpected? Was it a slip-up, a tactic, or was it something deeper? Let's break it down. Today, we're diving into a bizarre moment that had everyone asking questions. What was Tyson really doing? In this video, we're going to break down 3 potential reasons behind Tyson's glove-biting behavior. These reasons go beyond just a quirky moment. Could there be something deeper at play here? Let's explore. First, let's break down Tyson's peekaboo guard. If you're familiar with Tyson's boxing style, you know this guard is almost as iconic as his punch. The hands are held high near the temples, elbows tucked in, ready to block punches and throw counterattacks. This defensive stance is brilliant when executed properly. It allows Tyson to stay tight and protected while constantly moving forward, staying in his opponent's face. But here's the catch. This guard requires a tremendous amount of muscular tension. Tyson's arms are up for long periods during a fight. It's not just about defense. It's about pressure. Mental and physical. When you're in that defensive posture, your arms are holding up a lot of weight, which can get exhausting, especially if you're trying to move forward and stay active. This is where glove biting might come into play. Now think about it. When Tyson is in his guard, his hands are essentially locked in place. It's not just about holding a defensive position. It's about sustaining it for a long time. For any fighter, this can create fatigue, especially in the forearms and hands. It's one of the most physically demanding stances in boxing, and Tyson has used it for years. So, is the glove biting a coping mechanism? Could it be a way to momentarily distract himself from the physical discomfort he's enduring in that high guard? Some might argue that the act of biting the gloves is just a small subconscious way of relieving tension. Tyson has always been a fighter who relies on instinct, and in the midst of a defensive position, his body might be looking for some kind of release, something that doesn't break his focus but offers a bit of respite. It's not out of character for Tyson to do something like this. He's a boxer who's always worked through discomfort. The bite might just be an outlet for his body to reset, even if just for a second. Now let's dive deeper into a more psychological angle. Mike Tyson's past with aggression and the infamous ear-biting incident with Evander Holyfield in 1997. We all know the story. Tyson, in a moment of extreme frustration, bit off a piece of Holyfield's ear. It was shockingly violent and totally out of character in many ways, but it's a moment that stayed with Tyson throughout his career, and it likely still haunts him. Tyson's aggression has always been a double-edged sword. On one hand, it made him a fearsome force in the ring. On the other, it made him unpredictable and at times uncontrollable. Fast forward to the Tyson-Paul fight. A much older Tyson, a more introspective Tyson who's spoken publicly about his mental health and his struggles with anger and rage. Could this moment where he bites his gloves be a direct response to the demons of his past? Tyson, like any fighter, has learned to temper his aggression over the years, but it doesn't just disappear. It's something he has to manage constantly. Biting the gloves could have been his way of taking the edge off, avoiding slipping into that primal, instinctual place where he might have done something he regretted. By focusing that frustration on his gloves instead of his opponent, Tyson may have been channeling that inner rage in a more controlled, safe way. It's almost as if he's saying, "I've been here before. I know what happens when I lose control." This is a man who has spent years trying to reconcile his violent past with his more measured, mindful present. The biting isn't just a random moment. It could be Tyson's way of controlling the narrative of showing restraint. Instead of taking a swing at Paul, he takes a moment to bite his glove. It's almost as if he's acknowledging that old part of himself by choosing not to let it take over. Now, let's consider a more controversial angle. Could the Tyson-Paul fight have been, at least partially, staged? This wasn't a title fight or a high-profile championship bout. It was more of a spectacle than a competitive match. Tyson, the former heavyweight champion, was stepping into the ring with a YouTuber with little actual boxing experience. So, what if Tyson's glove biting was less about technique and more about performance? Think about the context. Tyson is a master of entertainment. He's spent years in the public eye, from his peak in boxing to his forays into acting, podcasting, and even comedy. So, what if this fight wasn't just about boxing? What if it was about creating a moment, something memorable that keeps people talking long after the bell rings? Boxing, like any sport, has its share of theatrics. There's always an element of performance, of selling the fight. Tyson's behavior could have been a part of this, intentionally overplaying the aggression in a way that keeps people on the edge of their seats. Think of it as a psychological tactic, baiting the audience into wondering, is this real? Or is Tyson just playing the part? In this sense, the glove biting wasn't a slip or an accident. It could have been a deliberately chosen moment to heighten the drama, to keep the audience engaged in a fight that wasn't really about winning or losing, but about entertaining. In a world where celebrities are increasingly blurring the lines between sports and entertainment, the Tyson-Paul fight might have been as much about spectacle as it was about sport. And the glove biting? A signature Mike Tyson move that served to remind everyone, this is Mike Tyson and he's still got it, whatever it may be. So what do you think? Was Mike Tyson biting his glove simply a tactical move linked to his style? A psychological barrier from his past, or a calculated performance in an otherwise staged spectacle? The truth might be a mix of all three, or maybe something we're not even considering. I want to hear what you think. Was Tyson just acting out of instinct? Or was there a deeper purpose behind that glove-biting moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's get the discussion going. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more knockout content. Our next video is going to be a knockout.